All right, it's time to hook up the trailer and load up this Super Duty and head to a destination for some camping and some off-roading. So first thing I've got to do is go get the tractor, and I got to go way back there in the back where my firewood stash is, way out yonder. And I'm going to bring a bunch of firewood up here. I'm going to put it in the back of the truck. I've gotten into a habit of putting the firewood, gas jugs, coolers, things that can make a mess. I put those in the back of the truck, and then everything else can go in the trailer because it's just easier to clean out the back of the truck. I got the 5,200 pound axles, so that leaves me a payload of 5,506 pounds. So 5,500 pounds is not, you know, super impressive. But that just goes to show you why you definitely want to at least get the 5,200 pound axles. You don't want to order a trailer like this with the 3,500 pound axles because you're going to have no payload. You know, a trailer like this will weigh 4,000 pounds empty. So, you know, the weight of the trailer eats up all your payload. You got to at least go with these 6-lug 5,200 pounders. You know, might not be a bad idea to do the 7,000 pound axles if you're going to, you know, haul like a car or a tractor or whatever in here, but I think I can get by with this. So all right, time to get started on this. Man, I'll tell you what, boys, I'm sucking wind. I'm wore out. This is that Husky Centerline TS weight distribution hitch setup that I bought several years ago when I was towing with a half-ton truck all the time. And this thing works amazing. It does such a great job when you're going down the road with a big load like this behind a half-ton truck. It takes out all of the bounce, all of the sway. It is awesome. But as I catch my breath here, the bad thing about it is hooking up these bars is a pain in the ass because you have to wind that jack. If you had an electric jack, it would be a whole lot better, but I don't. So you got to wind this jack and you got to raise that tongue up pretty far, actually. And on a truck like this that's pretty heavy, you're picking up the weight of the rear of the truck, obviously, and the tongue of the trailer. So it's a lot of weight to sit there and crank on. And then once you get it high enough, you got to get these bars on there, which I don't have it out here at the moment, but they give you a tool with the kit. And you basically have to put the tool up on there and pry this bar up and over those dowels there in the front. See, you got to clear those dowels and get that over on there. And when it finally does go, it is like bang! It sounds like a shotgun went off. And then you put the safety retainer on there, and then you got to do the other side. So it will flat wear you out. I took a bunch of measurements to make sure that I've got it all set up properly as far as, you know, distance from the ground and, you know, all these different measurements that they show you in the owner's manual to make sure this thing is providing the correct amount of assist. Normally with the Super Duty, I don't even hook the bars up, but on this particular trip, you know, we got a bigger trailer, we got 2 side-by-sides going in here. We got an extra guy going with us this time, so we're going to have 4 adults in the truck. We're going to have firewood, coolers, camp gear. It's going to be a pretty heavy load. I figure all together, the gross combined weight, we're probably going to be pushing 20,000. So I figured it'd be a good idea to go ahead and put the bars on this time. And plus, we're going to probably run into some pretty heavy thunderstorms on the interstate going down there. So I just want every bit of safety I can get out of this thing. So now all I got to do is hook up my safety wire here and do my checks. And I think everything will be ready to start loading up. All right, let's check this out and see what we got here. Plenty of space up front here. I still got room to put a few camping things. Got both machines in. That's pretty awesome. And back here we got plenty of space. Oh yeah. This worked out perfect. So 26-foot trailer, like I said. I got the 2 feet up in the front taken up for camping, primitive camping with my countertop and all that. So that gave me 24 feet of load floor, and that worked out perfect for 2 side-by-sides. This thing is so wide that it's a little hard to get in there, get everything strapped down, but you know, you see you got some space here. And over here on this side, of course, we got our mattresses over here, but there's some space over here too. If you were a big 500-pound guy, you might have some trouble, but we're not. So let's get these things strapped down, and then we'll start throwing camping gear in here. And then tomorrow morning, when we get up fresh and early, we'll go get some ice in the coolers and hit the road. So here we go, headed down the road, and the truck's doing a great job. This is where the diesel engine shines, and this is, in my opinion, the only advantage to a diesel engine, because you can put a big load behind a diesel and head out, and it'll stay in 6th gear. You can see my transmission temperature is 199. On this entire trip, I never ever see it go above 199. So the trans cooler on these trucks is amazing. This thing will go to 6th gear and just stay there. Doesn't care what kind of load is behind it. It only downshifts to 5th on the steepest of hills. Otherwise, it's just a very peaceful cruise along the interstate or the parkway or the freeway. I got the cruise set at 65 miles an hour, and it's just cruising along. But yeah, a gasoline truck, in my experience, would be upshift, downshift the whole time. The tachometer needle just swinging around like crazy, and that actually becomes a fatiguing experience. So yeah, this is where the diesel shines. Yes, they're expensive to buy. Yes, they're expensive to maintain. Yes, they're expensive to repair. They're not worth it 99% of the time. But the 1% of the time that you decide to take a camping trip and you hook the camper on and head down the road, this is where it shines. You can see here, engine oil temperature 210, water temperature 193, cruising at 65 miles an hour. Everything is looking fantastic. So yeah, I love the diesel on these kinds of trips. It really does make towing so much more enjoyable, because you're turning that low RPM, and everything is quiet, relatively so, and you can have conversations in the truck, and you know, it's just awesome in this specific scenario. So yeah, pretty awesome. However, you can see here I'm getting 8.1 miles per gallon. So like I always say, guys talk about how diesels get such great fuel economy. That is a myth. They do not get great fuel economy when you're working them. If it's an empty truck, you don't have any load on it, then they do pretty well. But as soon as you load up a diesel, they drink just as much fuel as any gasoline truck that I have ever owned. We made it to the campground, but as usual, it looks like a monsoon out there. So we'll just hang out in here for a little while. Maybe try to get this TV going. Well, that was a heck of a storm. I bet we got 2 inches of rain out of that. Plus there's a tornado watch posted for this area. I don't think I've ever come down to the land between the lakes ever that it hasn't stormed. In like the last 24 years that I've been coming down here, I think it storms every time. This creek right here is starting to really roll. Of course, you put 2 inches of rain on it, that'll tend to happen. But we've got a break here now, so hopefully the rain's gonna pass on through. We can clean the picnic table off, get the Coleman stove out, start making some food. But yeah, I mean, the truck and the trailer is doing great. This is so much better than a tent. This storm came rolling in and we all just got inside the trailer and hung out for a while, turned some fans on, and my wife was reading a book. The boys decided to take a nap. It's just great. Don't have to worry about the weather or the wind collapsing your tent or the rain coming in your tent. Don't have to worry about any of that crap anymore. So much better to primitive camp out of a trailer like that. And you don't have to set up a tent in this crap because it's muddy out here right now. The forecast looks a lot better tomorrow and Sunday, so hopefully we'll get to go out and do some ripping. The wife took the Commander up to the bathhouse to do some personal business, and then when she gets back, we'll try to make some food. Trail's been chewed up.
Second of the flood didn't help me. Not fair. I needed your little boom box so I could have one in here. I thought about that and bringing, because we could set it right here.
Would be nice to have a radio. I'm old fashioned. I'd like to have an FM radio.
So I was thinking about for me, I would get
Nice spot up here, up at one of the highest points. We come up here so we can check our phones. We actually get a signal up here. And then after we check messages, we'll go down that ravine back down to the lake and go find some mud or something. This thing is way rougher than it looks. Gosh. Oh goodness. Too many rocks, man. All the mud is gone. Oh, that one's not on. This one over here is on. These porch lights, as they call them. Man, look how bright that is. That sucker's bright. It lights up a really big area out here. Actually, a very useful light on these trailers. Well, it's Saturday morning. I'm just taking a very leisurely stroll down here to the ranger station. Comes a couple of Jeeps. But yeah, I'm headed down here to get a couple bags of ice for the coolers. But you know, we put some miles on this Commander last night after the rain stopped, and this is the first time I've actually had it out on the real trail system. And you know what I would say about it is that the ride quality is what you would expect from an entry-level machine. It's plush enough that it doesn't beat you completely to death, you know, it doesn't jar you to death, but you can also tell that it's not a premium suspension. So you kind of get what you expect in that category. There's another Jeep. Must be a pack of them coming in. Now they got some dirt bikes. But I'm gonna stop here for a second so you can hear me a little better. But yeah, I mean, the ride quality is what you would expect. Here's the things I don't like about this machine. I may have mentioned these things before. The 700 class engine is fine, okay? It makes adequate power to go around the trails and, you know, blast around a little bit and do what you want to do. The 700 motor's fine. What they screwed up is, first of all, the throttle response is non-existent. I mean, you can stab that pedal and count to 3 before it does anything. Horrible throttle response. And then the second thing is the clutching in this transmission is an absolute joke. You know, these entry-level ones have the P-drive style clutches in them, and it's like right now, watch this. You give it some gas and then bam, then it takes off. That is so annoying. So, you know, those two things are the things that hold this machine back. If they would fix the throttle response and put the same clutching in here that they put in the 1000, this would be a really nice machine because the ride quality is good enough to do what you need to do. The power steering is nice. I mean, you can just turn it with 2 fingers. Power steering is good. It's not super loud in here. I mean, for an entry-level machine, it's not horrible overall. They just need to fix a few things. Those 2 things, and then the Visco lock, which is an absolute joke also. If they would put a real locker in here, good clutching, like the bigger machines get, and fix the throttle response. Those 3 things, okay, let's call that the big 3. Can-Am, if you would fix those 3 things, this 700 would be a great value. It would be a really, really great value in the entry-level segment. I really would like to see them work on that. But as it is, this clutching, is just so miserably frustrating. You know, and I'm just out on the main road going down to the ranger station. When you're out on a trail, you know, and you stop on an incline and then you try to take off again, I mean, oh my goodness. And then when you're going down a hill, that's really frustrating too, because the clutching will like grab and try to slow down, and then it'll release, and then it'll grab, and then it'll release, you know. And my wife's like, "Are you doing that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. I had my foot sort of on the brake pedal the whole time it was doing that, you know," and it just kept surging. It would grab the machine and pull the speed down, then it would let go. It's just so frustrating. So yeah, the clutching really needs work. I guess you could probably go to the aftermarket maybe and get some good clutching for one of these things. I don't know. The throttle response, maybe that's something you could tune out of it. I don't know if there's aftermarket products for that. And then of course I know you can buy upgrades for the front differential. So I mean, maybe you could spend some money in the aftermarket and fix these three things, and then you'd have a really nice machine. But right out of the box, it needs a little bit of work. Do have to give credit where it's due, and these Can-Am tires that came on this thing, they're 27s. It'd be nice to have 28s, but you know, they do a great job, and that tread pattern really does dig. I mean, it's sloppy out here this morning, and these tires are digging pretty good. He's thinking twice about it. Some of those hills are steeper than they look on camera. Yeah, I think he's gonna try and turn around. Because once you get up that one, it ends up being like a ravine on the other side. Yeah, the terrain is pretty nice down here though. I mean, you've got these challenges and these steep hill climbs and things you can do if you want. You can also piddle around like we've been doing. There's mud. There's a lake to play in. A little bit of everything down here, really. Had to take some of the audio out of these clips because these guys were running some music that would almost certainly result in a copyright strike. But this is an area that was kind of fun, had some hills to climb, and you know, some of these machines, you know, it's kind of surprising what they will actually climb. So if there's some audio available, I'll try to leave it in here. Otherwise, just enjoy the silence and watch what these side-by-sides can do. Turbo two-door.
Disgusting.
What?
That gum.
Short wheelbase, man, makes all the difference. She went right up that like it was nothing. No camp trip would be complete without a campfire, right? Took forever because the wood is so wet from all the rain that we got. But we got a campfire going finally. Looks like the missus is in the trailer, got the light on in there. She's probably reading a book or something, because the bugs are horrible out here tonight. But man, it's beautiful down here at the land between the lakes. Well, it's Sunday morning. The rain is gone. Campfire's still going. Beautiful out here this morning. It's a little cloudy, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So today's the day we gotta pack up and head home and see if we can do a little better than 8 miles per gallon getting home, hopefully. But yeah, like I always say, if you haven't had a chance to come down to the land between the lakes and do some riding at Turkey Bay off-highway vehicle area, you need to come down and check it out. It is a beautiful place. Lots to do down here other than just trail riding. They've got a planetarium and a bison range where you can take your kids out and see bison out on the prairie, and obviously there's Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley. You can fish, and There's all kinds of things to do down here, but we like to camp out and do a little riding. And anyway, gonna wrap this one up. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we will talk to you later on. Thanks for watching.